News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. The Houthis say they plan to target Israeli airports in the coming hours, and they say the attacks will be in response to Israel's escalation in Gaza. Israel's military announced the start of extensive new ground operations in Gaza today. Watch for possible financial market volatility when Wall Street gets up and running tomorrow after Moody's ratings downgraded the U.S. government credit rating from AAA to AA+ and cited a ballooning budget deficit. Could see higher Treasury yields, downward pressure on the U.S. dollar, and reduced attractiveness of U.S. equities, according to investors to Bloomberg News. The Trump administration downplaying the downgrade, though. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calls it a lagging indicator.
I think that Moody's is a lagging indicator. I think that's what everyone thinks of credit agencies.
And Bessent also says the problems reflected in the Moody's downgrade are part of the Biden administration's legacy.
We didn't get here in the past 100 days. It's the Biden administration and the spending that we have seen over the past 4 years. We inherited 6.7% deficit to GDP, the highest when we weren't in a recession, not in a war, and we are determined to bring the spending down and grow the economy.
Bessent on NBC's Meet the Press. Tax negotiations continuing today, speaking of spending, after President Trump's tax and spend bill failed to pass a House committee late last week. The committee planning to meet again later tonight. House leaders trying to broker a compromise between moderates and ultra-conservatives. Earlier, tariffs in focus. Former Vice President Mike Pence criticizing President Trump's approach to tariffs.
He is surrounded, it appears to me, with people that nurture his more protectionist instincts.
Pence also telling NBC's Meet the Press he did come to respect President Trump's use of tariff threats to negotiate better trade deals with some countries. Investors also looking ahead to comments later today from New York Fed President John Williams. He'll deliver the commencement address at Hofstra University. Tomorrow, it's leading indicators in the U.S. from the University of Michigan. Also, consumers in focus when Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, the owner of TJ Maxx, and Ralph Lauren report quarterly results this coming week, and we'll be getting a bunch of reports on the housing market as well. Federal transportation officials launching an investigation into why a Mexican Navy tall ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge in a collision that snapped the vessel's 3 masts, killed 2 crew members, and left some sailors dangling from harnesses high in the air, more than a dozen injured. New York City Police Chief Wilson Arambola says the ship lost power in the East River Current.
The captain that was maneuvering the ship lost power of the ship in the current. Mechanical function caused the ship to go right into the pillar of the bridge, hitting the mast of the ship where there was a couple of sailors on top.
And the NTSB is investigating that accident. In Rome, Pope Leo XIV's first public mass.
Esprimo in particolare la mia gratitudine alle delegazioni ufficiali di numerosi paesi.
History's first American pope during today's installation in Rome, vowing to work for unity so the Catholic Church becomes a sign of peace in the world. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky met at the Vatican during those proceedings, smiling and shaking hands during the enthronement of the Pope. That's after a previous clash between Vance, Zelensky, and President Trump at the White House in February. President Trump, meantime, saying on Truth Social he plans to have phone conversations with Russian President Vladimir Putin and also with Zelensky about the war in Ukraine tomorrow. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff on what happens tomorrow.
Monday will go a long way towards identifying where we are and how we complete this negotiation.
And Witkoff there on ABC's This Week. Officials believe anti-natalist ideology could be behind a California fertility clinic bombing. The FBI calling the bombing an act of terrorism. Investigators focusing on social media posts by the suspect indicating he may have believed no one should have children. The suspect died and several people were injured in that attack. OpenAI plans to help develop a massive new data center in the United Arab Emirates that may eventually be one of the largest in the world. More from Bloomberg's Charlie Pellet.
It's a major bet on the Middle East and a significant expansion of the company's global AI infrastructure ambitions. Sources tell Bloomberg the ChatGPT maker is expected to be one of the primary anchor tenants for a recently announced 5-gigawatt data center campus in Abu Dhabi. They say OpenAI's participation is not yet finalized, but a formal announcement may come in the near term. Once completed, the sprawling facility would cover 10 square miles and use roughly as much power as 5 nuclear reactors. In New York, Charlie Pellet, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it. With Bloomberg News Now, I'm Denise Pellegrini, and this is Bloomberg.